This is for Fight the Good Fight USA, who's not Jewish, but a supporter of Judaism. And he's getting into an argument with someone who's quoting him a Sanhedrin, which is the Masechta of the Talmud. And he says like this, he puts a one quote, Sanhedrin 54b, a Jew may have sex with a child as long as the child is less than 9 years old. And the person says, I'm pretty sure this thing out of context because he has already attacked me and my Russian Orthodox beliefs and was very wrong. My question is, what would be your response to this attack? I opened up Sanhedrin. To say this is out of context is incomplete. This is a misquote. This is he's either working off a false translation or his intellect is stopped to the point of he doesn't understand the plain meaning of the argument going on in the Gemmara. I'll read it to you, basically, what it's talking about. This is the only thing on the page. The page is a big page. This is what I think he's talking about. And this is the translation from Sonsino Press. It's an old one, but it's still it's a valid translation. Our rabbis taught, in the case of a male child, a young one is not regarded as on par with an old one, but a young beast is treated as an old one. They're talking about different penalties for forced sexual relations and also for bestiality. Okay, different penalties that are going to be administered by a court of Jewish law, which nowadays we don't have anyway. But this is what the conversation is. This is where we're tuning into the conversation. What is meant by this? Rab said, pederasty. Okay, that's what they call it. Sex with a minor with a child below 9 years of age is not deemed as pedophilia, as he calls it, with a child above that. They're making a halachic distinction, a Jewish legal distinction, between what happens in a case when someone forces himself on a person over 9 years old and under 9 years old. And they're saying there's a difference. Now there's a dissenting opinion from Shmuel. Shmuel says pederasty with a child below 3 years is not treated as that with above 3 years. So he's basically saying that this age distinction comes from the age of 3, not the age of 9. These ages 3, 9, and eventually you'll see 12, where women are considered bat mitzvah, 13 for men, are different ages in physical maturity. The Gemmara is discussing different penalties that would be meted out by a court of Jewish law if we ever get to establish one that actually has any authority. God should grant it to the Jewish people sooner rather than later. What is a difference in terms of the victim and their age? Okay, a Jew may have sex with a child as long as the child is less than 9 years old. This is a discussion of punishments. This is a legal discussion. To take one line out of any Gemmara that you want, and to think you're going to understand the Gemmara. A Gemmara, you know what the Talmud is? The Talmud is geniuses looking at one verse in the Torah and trying to make sense of it in terms of legal ramifications. It's a codification of the entirety of Jewish law, of 613 commandments that God gave to the Jewish people, the sons of Israel, the sons of Jacob, at the Mount of Sinai. It's an oral tradition passed down for thousands of years, written down only later in the form of the Talmud. It was given to Moses, our teacher, and it was elucidated in the desert itself by the Jewish people for 40 years as they wandered around, 38 years as they wandered around. Don't ever look at one line from the Talmud and think you understand anything what the geniuses are saying. Their intellect is not like our intellect. These are men of high intellect and high moral fiber. Okay? Besides the fact that, generally speaking, people did not mature in the same way in the old days as they do now. Now we mature a lot slower. And people are close to home for a lot longer. So even by 17, they're still living at home. King Solomon was a king at 12 years old. Okay, there's one opinion that Rivka, our mother, she was betrothed at 3 years old, and they began having relations at 13 years old when she was physically ready to have relations. That's when a woman is deemed ready. Well, and she hits puberty basically. So don't be attacked by people who are ignoramuses and they're filled with hate and anti-Semitism. Don't worry about them, because eventually the light comes out and the truth comes out, and you can educate this friend of yours. But I would not spend too much time with people like this. In my opinion, it's a waste. They're coming from a place of anti-Semitism and hatred, and they generally try to put down every single thing that comes from God Himself. Thanks so much, and God bless.